Hey everybody, good to be back to show you guys another video. There was a couple requests on the Facebook group where people were asking, hey, how do I organize all the cards in my box? How do I organize it so that I can pull everything out and play the game as quickly as possible? And I thought I'd just do a quick little video showing how I personally do it. Now, a couple notes about me. I am a solo player, pretty much, period. I might be able to bust this out with a couple friends in a year or so, but for now I'm just playing this game solo. So the way I organize this might be just a smidge different if you're playing in a group with a bunch of other people. I can show you a couple tips on how to do that as well. But why don't we just get started? Two things I do want to note right away. First, I'm just going to leave the miniatures in here just because there's not really anywhere else to put them, and it doesn't really make sense to put them anywhere that you're not going to be using them, or because they're not going to fit anywhere. So they all just remain where they've been given. The other thing is I want to show you underneath my box, I placed a couple components in here that I just won't be using. The three other copies of the Order of the Day, the Combat and Diplomacy help cards. Since I'm playing solo, these cards, I won't be using them really ever. So I keep them underneath the insert, and I'll pull them out if I ever get a group together to play the game with me. I also keep down here also the other 3 You Are Going Insane cards and the 4 co-op You Are Dying cards. Now, if I decide to two-hand solo play, where I play by myself but I have two characters I'm controlling, I'll bust these out and use them. But for now, I'm not going to be using them anytime soon, really. So they are going to go in the bottom of the box under the insert. I also put in here this is the tutorial guide. I used it once. An amazing tutorial, by the way. Literally, I played through this whole thing, and I felt like I knew exactly how to play the game. So props to Awakened Realms for a great start here, little tutorial playthrough. So that's everything that I keep down at the bottom here. I'm probably going to put the little maps that they gave us as well. I kind of looked over that map enough that I just kind of got a general sense of where everything is, and I won't be using it very often. So I would just to declutter a little bit, anything you're not going to use on a daily basis as you play the game, place it underneath your insert. So let's stick this guy back in here. All right. Oops. Oh. All right. So now we're going to go over some kind of the obvious things. For example, your D6 and the Guardian dice. There's a whole slot just for them right here. So that's where they're going to go. Let's see. Then we're going to take, this is the item deck. I like to put this in one of these deeper inserts here, just because they fit nice. You can reach down and pick them up. Oh, also, now that I remembered, I also haven't sleeved any of my cards. There's been a lot of people saying like, oh, if it's sleeved, it's not going to fit, and other people say, oh, you can. You just have to do some finagling. I personally haven't sleeved anything of mine, so this is all unsleeved. This is the skill cards that you use to upgrade your characters. I like to put these in more of the shallow insert in front of the item deck here. Easy to pick up, and I don't know, it just fits a little nicer in there for me. Then comes the secret cards. These are the cards that have just the number on the back of them. I also place this in, actually, most of the time now that I think about it, most of the time I place it here as well. So the only thing that really fits here is some of the tokens like these. Everyone received a bunch of little plastic baggies. And if you don't have any other way to store your components, your HP markers, your quest tokens, your time tokens, I would put them inside of that little plastic baggie, roll them up a little bit, and stick them right here. Personally, I found this lying around. It's a case that came with a couple trading cards that I got from a company, and I was like, wow, those fit just perfect. So this was my solution. I just pull this puppy out, open it up, and bam, I'm ready to go already. So personally, I put this right there, but that's kind of a personal choice that I made, so that might not help you guys. But if you guys can pick up one of these, they're very, very helpful. Next thing that I'm going to grab is all of the dials. Here, let me collect all these real quick. So, all of these metal dials, I personally put them here. My one complaint about this insert is that this is the perfect size to fit cards in, but it's not deep enough for the cards to go down and have them be underneath this little lip right here. I think it's kind of frustrating, to be honest, because I feel like this is a great section to put like your quest cards. You know, it keeps them all nice and separate from the rest of the cards. It's easier to find them, but like I said, this is just, it's not deep enough for the cards to sit in nice and level. So I personally just put all of my metal tokens right in there. The plastic tokens, I also took those out. I didn't really see it necessary for me to have 10 plastic tokens, 10 metal tokens, because I'm always going to be using these ones. So, and I'm planning on using those for actually a different game anyway. So anyways, those aren't included in here. The next thing that I like to put, so this is also something that I had lying around. It's just a little hard case plastic deck box, and it actually fits the red and purple cubes perfectly. It's really, really nice. So I just pull this out, and boom, all done. And they're ready to go. I just set them there for the gameplay. I can reach in, grab anything I need, and I don't know, it just fit really nice. And also, I just slot it in right here personally. Now, if you don't have anything like this and you're just using the plastic baggies, I would what I did is I stuck all the red and the purple all in one plastic bag, and I put them on top of my metal coins right here. It fits nice and snug. You just got to kind of push it down just a little bit there. But for the way I have things set, for me, for having this, I place it here. Okay. Next thing up are the location cards. So I'm not going to show any of these because in case of spoilers, but these are the Tarot size location cards, and there's a whole slot just for them right here, and they go right there. Now, I'm going to take this out just for a second. There's actually a little, I'm sure you guys know this, but there's a little tiny divider between this and this section here. This one's a lot thicker, so this is kind of for the unused location cards, the ones that you don't have to pull out to set up for your next chapter. So these are some of the very first cards that you're going to deal with. I also have my help cards in this pile too, the action, the diplomacy, and the combat and diplomacy icons. I also stick these with my location cards, and I'll slot them in here. And that way, when I start the game, all I have to do is just grab that pile, lay out the location cards, and boom, I'm ready to go. I also just slot this in between in case you guys go out and get yourself one of these. I just stick it right in the middle there, and it fits nicely. Let's see. Next thing are the random event cards. And I'm also going to combine this with my one copy of You Are Going Insane and You Are Dying cards. So no matter what, you're always going to need these cards when you start the game. Like for example, like you don't need every single encounter card. You don't need every single combat and diplomacy advancement pools in the game, depending on how many players you have. But this you will always need. Just like how you always need to grab the item deck, the skill cards, and the secret cards, you're always going to want to pull those out when you set up for a game, just like this one. So I'm going to stick this in right in one of the save slots here. That way I can just grab it and boom, I'm ready to go. Next up, for me as a solo player, the far left is where I stick my current deck that I'm using in game. This is my combat and diplomacy deck that I'm using during my campaign, and I just slot them in right here. There's also kind of a mini section right here, which I think is amazing. I did not really see them doing that, and that's where I put any secret cards, item cards, companions I have. I put them in there, so that way, once again, I can just grab them and boom, I'm ready to go. Next up is this is the stack of quest and event cards. This is you need these cards in order to play the game. Now, this is all of them, and I personally stick all the ones I'm not using in the far right corner. It's just kind of a nice little, it just keeps them all together, and let's say I'm in chapter 1. So the plan was I would grab the chapter setup card, all the cards that are associated with chapter 1, and I would actually put these and stick them with my random events and my You Are Going Insane and You Are Dying cards. Once again, that way I could just pick all these up, and every card in this pile I'm going to use during the game that I'm currently setting up for. Another note that I did was I went through and I lined up the chapter setup cards with, so like this is chapter 2 setup cards, boom, that's all of chapter 2 right there in my hand. This is chapter 3A, boom, all of chapter 3A is in my hand right now. So it's just kind of a quicker way to do that. So you can see I've spread it out throughout the whole deck. That way I can find the correct chapter quickly. So the unused ones are going to go over here. All right, next up, we have one empty save slot here. And this is where I'm placing the current chapter I'm on will determine which types of encounters I'm going to run into. So this is my current encounter deck from my gameplay that I'm going through right now. So I'm going to take this and slot it here into the second save slot. Once again, that way I can just grab, and I have basically half the things I need. Grab this, grab that, grab this, grab that, boom, all ready to go. So it's all nice and quick, nice good flow. Okay. Next up, there's this tiny little space right here. Now, this you can use for multiple things. I would imagine that if you're playing with multiple people and you need these save slots saved for other people, you know, like my current combat and diplomacy decks are right here. Maybe players two would go here, 3 here, and 4 here. So I imagine if you're playing with multiple people, this little slot here would probably be a good place to place your random events, You're Going Insane and Dying card, and the current chapter and setup card, and placing it here. It actually fits extremely nicely right there. So if you're playing with multiple people, I would advise you place it here. Me personally, I just stick I'm gonna butcher her name. I think it's Niyama, this character right here. All of her advancement pool, I just put it here along with these divider cards that they gave you. I don't really like them, so I don't use them, but maybe I'll find a use for them. I just stick these in there as well, and it actually fits perfectly right there. And I don't know, it's just a nice way to keep it separated from the rest of them, because since her deck is a little different than the way the other characters work. Next up, let's see. Next up, I have my current playthrough. Her advanced diplomacy and combat pool. So this is also something that I just need to grab right away when I open up the box. So I'm also going to stick it here with the random events, the You're Going Insane cards, and the current chapter I'm working on. So this is just a big brick of cards. Boom, I'm ready to go. I can pick these up, separate them nice and quick. If I actually had these lined up right. 1 second. I guess these would actually want to go like that. Anyways, so yeah, it's like boom, boom. All my random events, I'm going to boom, 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 so on and so forth. So I stick all of those in one spot. Okay. Next up, these are the encounter decks that you are currently not using. So these I place, let's see, where do I place them? I actually place them. Now this is going to be pretty different just because my setup's so different with my cubes in this little hard case deck box. But let's say if I didn't have this and all my cubes were shoved into this section, I would put my unused encounter decks right here on the left side. This right side, this along with Niyama's advancement pool, this is where I put all of the combat and diplomacy cards that I'm currently not using. So, for example, so this is Maggot's advanced combat pool. This is Maggot's. This is Maggot's. This is Maggot's diplomacy advancement pool, and then from here, I would simply look. Also, his starter deck is in the very back. So once I see that banner, the rest of Maggot's cards are going to be his starter deck. So I have that lined up like this. I'm just going to place it with the advancement pool card facing this way. And then I would repeat that same lineup with the rest of the combat cards. And I would then place these like so. So this is all of the combat and diplomacy cards I'm currently not using in my playthrough. These are all the extra encounters. This little guy is going to go in, well, the way I have it actually set up is I have this like this and this like this. Okay, so that's the whole bottom half of the game. Now, one thing, this is your personal choice. I personally actually got rid of the clear plastic protectant that was dividing the minis from the top of the box. I just felt like it every time I opened the box to get something, I was like, oh, I have to remove this plastic remover, grab the one thing I need, then put the plastic container back in, and then put the box top back on. And then it just kept happening. Like I remember one time I just kept forgetting little things, and I had to do it over and over again. And I was like, you know what? I don't really care about this. So I personally got rid of it, but that is your personal choice. So after that, simply grab your character's boards, and they fit nicely on top of all of your minis and on top of all of the smaller item, secret, and skill cards. Niama's character tile just goes right here as well. I personally always keep a pen in my in the board or in the box for my save sheets, things like that. Then after that, next comes the rule book. That artwork gets me every time. Next comes your save sheets and the exploration journal sits right on top there. I decided to take the almanac out. It was just kind of decluttering. It was just cluttering up my box, and it took longer for me to set up because of that. So, for a solo player, I think this is the most efficient way to pack your game. Also, as a solo player, and your cards are unsleeved. I possibly might be getting sleeves for this game at some point, and if I do, I will show you guys how to set this all up if all your cards are sleeved as well. So just the biggest thing I would say is any component that you're not using, take it out of the box, minus the combat and diplomacy cards that were placed here for other characters that are in use. That's just a lot of cards that you can't really just leave out. What's also nice about this setup is I could store this horizontally or vertically, and it doesn't really matter. The box is packed tight enough that your pieces aren't really going to be flying around. You can kind of hear the coins rattle around, like that. You can kind of hear the coins rattling around. But with the journal on top of that, plus the rule book and the save sheets, all that's placed on top of all those pieces, it keeps it all nice and contained. So that is how I personally pack my game of Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. Really excited to keep playing this game. I'm actually only on chapter 2 right now, and I'm really anxious to get to play it. So, anyways, guys, have a great time. I hope this video helped you guys out, and happy adventuring. We'll see you. Bye.